Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Michael Rain. I'm one of the partner solutions engineers with Sumo Logic. Thank you for joining today's live demo of our Cloud SIEM solution. We'll just give it 60 seconds or so and let any latecomers come. We've just gone 6:30 on the clock and we'll get started momentarily. The format today of the session is I'm not going to kill you with PowerPoint slides. It is a live demo, so I'll probably run through 4 or 5 slides just as an introduction to the solution, and then we'll go into the live demonstration component of it, come back and spend maybe 5 minutes reviewing 1 or 2 more slides, and then give you the opportunity to ask any questions or for any comments in the chat as well. This session is being recorded as well, so I believe that you will be provided with a link to the recording as well after the session. So you're welcome to watch that moving forward as well. I'll just say hello, and just because I'm on low bandwidth, I will stop my video. Okay. All right, so let's get going. All right, so helps if I click present and not share. All right, so again, good afternoon. Welcome to Sumo Logic's live demonstration of our Cloud SIEM solution, providing our customers and partners cloud scale analytics and automation for security operations. Security operations is changing for a lot of our customers. The security domain itself is not a new domain. Customers have been addressing different security challenges and requirements for many, many years, though we're starting to see a real shift in the way that security operations are addressed. And this is spurred on or brought upon through some changes and evolution of IT infrastructures and environments. So you'll see 3 of these, namely on screen, that I'll touch upon today. So, if we look to even 5 years ago or 5 years plus ago, primarily IT was an on-premise affair. Maybe you ran Office 365 or G Suite, as it was called in the day, or you had some type of hosted email solution from Mimecast or Proofpoint or something like this. But for the most part, IT was on-premise. And what we've really seen in recent years, spurred on through COVID and working from home and things of this nature, is a real adoption of the cloud, right? And if we think about traditional SIEM and SecOps solutions, they weren't really designed to run in that perimeterless environment, right? They were designed to run behind the firewall, collect and correlate an array of on-premise infrastructure and applications, and they don't really support hybrid or cloud-first, cloud-native environments very well. So cloud adoption is definitely changing the way that our customers look at and act upon security operations. This digital transformation, cloud and just transformation in general, has really altered the attack surface. So, whereas traditionally IT was kept behind the perimeter and VPN access and things were provided in, these days I would suggest that the overwhelming majority of customers in the market, there is no perimeter. They're either using an ever-increasing number of digital services that are hosted as SaaS, or through the major IaaS vendors such as Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, and the surface of attack that customers need to address from a security operations perspective has really changed. There is no more trusted environment or trusted zone per se. And then the culmination of these 2 items, cloud adoption and digital transformation, has just led to an overwhelming increase in the overall amount of log data and alerts that are firing from disparate, isolated systems. And a lot of our customers are really trying to address or come up with better ways for their high value, highly skilled security operations people to address alert fatigue and the overwhelming number of alerts coming in. So, you know, we consider this no longer a human scalable problem. Even though you might throw more bodies or more resources at it, it's this, you know, ever daunting task of there's just too many things to look at from a security operations perspective. Sumo Logic's Cloud SIEM solution addresses all of these changing landscapes in different ways. Some of them that you see on screen. So, you know, we're providing actionable insights and giving security practitioners the ability not just to receive prioritized alerts, but to receive and action automated insights. And think of insights as an investigation. So, you know, we're enriching these insights with user and network related context and data, and basically telling security operations people or providing security operations people more insight into the things that they should be spending time on, not just bubbling up alerts, right? We provide some deep integrated search functionality to allow a single console to search across all of the log data, regardless of whether it's on-premise, whether it's being run as a SaaS solution, whether it's running as infrastructure as a service. It could even be leveraging microservices-based architectures or serverless-based technologies, things like Kubernetes or Lambda or Azure functions and things of this nature. Sumo Logic's Cloud SIEM solution is cloud native. So it's not a solution that was born on premise and has been ported to work with different cloud providers. It was built for the cloud. So it has the ability to be able to connect back into hybrid environments. So for our customers that still run some variation or percentage of on-premise IT, you know, maybe they're running Active Directory on-premise and these types of things, servers and VMware and things of this nature, we can pick up all of that data as well. But it was really designed as a cloud SaaS solution from the ground up, right? We are hosted from the AWS cloud. That is where our infrastructure runs. But we can collect data from anywhere, including multi-tenant and multi-cloud environments. So if you are running different workloads with different service providers or SaaS solutions and IaaS solutions, there's no real issue. You know, you don't need to be running in AWS, where our solution is running from, in order to be serviced by the Cloud SIEM solution per se. And we're starting to see, because of the ease of use of our solution, that through collecting and centralizing all of the logs and log management, that we're seeing not only the security operations folk and resources using Sumo Logic, but we're also starting to see IT operations people to keep the health and availability and performance of infrastructure and applications running optimally. You know, that extends into DevOps and developmental related use cases, all being able to be addressed by Sumo Logic Cloud SIEM solution. Being that we're a SaaS solution as well, there's no watering and feeding of our system. You sign up for an account on our website, very seamlessly, you know, 60 seconds later, you're ready to go. You know, we're ready to start receiving your data per se. So, you know, we really provide rapid time to value with a lot of out-of-the-box contents and provide customers the ability to be able to self-service in our platform. Some of these claims that I've made have been recently backed up because Sumo Logic has received some industry accolation, namely from the Gartner Magic Quadrant for SIEM. So many of our customers use Gartner as a resource to give them some guidance as to who are the vendors and what are the solutions for the different quadrant spectrums where they should be doing some investigation or learning a little bit more about. And Sumo Logic just this year was actually awarded or deemed to be a visionary in the Magic Quadrant for SIEM. So you know, we believe that our placement reflects the value that our customers are realizing the fact that we're a cloud native SIEM platform out of the box, and it's being that it's SaaS, it's constantly evolving. There is no major and minor release of Sumo Logic. Every week we are releasing feature enhancements and new functionality that our customers get automatically, through that evolution of SaaS, right? So we can provide, or you can also download a copy of the full Gartner Magic Quadrant report from our website, or make contact with us and we can provide you with some more information here. But you'll notice Sumo Logic in the bottom right-hand corner, which is considered a visionary in this space, to the same kind of tune of Microsoft and Fortinet and some of these other, quite mature security vendors per se. We're going to be focusing today in the live demo, namely in our clouds, around our Cloud SIEM offering. But what we find when talking to customers about security is that many of our customers are at different levels of maturity when it comes to adopting security technology and solutions, and also with regards to the experience and maturity that their resources in their business have, right? So some of our customers are just embarking on SIEM, and they're looking to start doing log management and event correlation and these types of things. They don't run a SOC per se. That might be addressed over here on the left-hand side through audit and compliance or cloud security monitoring and analytics requirements. We then have customers all the way at the other end of the spectrum that have experience with SIEM. Maybe they've been running one of the legacy SIEMs on-premise. This could be something like Splunk or an Elastic-based solution, maybe IBM QRadar or ArcSight or one of these types of solutions. And they have a SOC, they have some experience with SIEM, but through cloud initiatives and digital transformation, they're looking to find something that's a little more suited towards their, cloud first, cloud native mentality, right? Likewise, we have customers that are running SIEM and looking to do things with SOAR, which is the automation of responses when different events are detected and these types of things. So this slide here kind of depicts the full plethora of functionality that are available to Sumo Logic customers. And we refer to it, if I was to make an analogy, you could think of it as kind of like a baby, right? So the audit and compliance stage is the crawling stage of security maturity. The cloud security monitoring and analytics stage would be considered the walking stage of security maturity. Cloud SIEM is the running stage, where we see a lot of customers investing a lot of time and a lot of energy and having a lot of interest today. And that's what we're going to drill down and have a look at in a live demo. And then the sprinting stage, which is once our customers have experience with Cloud SIEM, they have a good number of analysts on their team, they have experience in detections and investigations, they want some way to be able to automate the responses to these different types of events going on. And this is what Cloud SOAR does in that kind of sprinting stage. So we've got the crawling, the walking, the running, and the sprinting stage. Okay, so we're going to get in and have a bit of a look at the live demonstration of Sumo Logic here. And namely, and this is the last slide before we do that, we're going to focus on a few different things here. We're going to focus on the records, the signals, and the insights. So just remember those terms as we transition into the live demonstration. So where most of our customers start with SIEM is that we need to get your log data into our system. And without going into this in too much detail, we do this in two ways. On the left-hand side, we have what's called an installed collector. So this is an agent-based collection approach where we install an agent to one or many, primarily of your on-premise infrastructure, but it could also be onto your EC2 instances and your Azure virtual machines and these types of things. And they pick up, event logs and /var/log directories and different things from infrastructure. they compress and they encrypt it, and they send it up to Sumo Logic. So this is the first way that we collect data via an agent or a footprint that gets the various log data and brings it into our SaaS solution. For anything that you see on the right, and we provide a few different logos here, we actually support hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of applications and infrastructure. But just to give you an idea as to some of the common infrastructure and SaaS solutions that our cloud solutions that our customers are running, we pick up this data via hosted collection. So this is really, really easy to do. We host the collection for customers in our cloud, and you basically stream your data or your logs and event data into Sumo Logic. So if this was something like, just as an example, Office 365 or G Suite, these types of systems have an admin console. We log on, we configure those applications to stream their data to Sumo Logic via API. If it was something like AWS or Azure or GCP as an example, then we have if I use AWS as an example, different CloudFormation templates that automate the collection of different logs and events out of AWS. And again, we'll stream those data or that data over HTTPS into Sumo Logic. So, we can spend more time if you have specific questions at the end around collection, but this is how we get the data in, either via a footprint or an agent, or via a cloud-based solution that streams the data coming into Sumo. Great. So from here, when we log on to the Sumo Logic console, and it might have logged me out because I've been sitting here talking to you for 15 minutes. So let me just hit this button again to relaunch the console. Our Cloud SIEM solution, where when you log onto it, you're presented with this particular solution. Now, this is quite a busy screen here that you see in front of you. So let me point out a couple of things to look at. So in the center here is our radar, and this refers to the amount of records, signals, and insights that have been generated for you over the last 24 hours. So you'll also see numerical representation of this over in the top left-hand corner. So what we refer to as a record is raw log messages, right? From all the different systems and appliances and solutions that you're collecting and sending to Sumo Logic. So in this particular example, there's been 13 million log messages collected for this customer. This is a demonstration environment, so this fictitious customer, 13 million logs in the last 24 hours that have streamed into Sumo Logic. And this outer band here in blue will kind of give you a radar as to how many logs are coming in at any given time, right? So in my environments, this is a demonstration environment. So some of this data is synthetic, but in our customers' environments, obviously, they're receiving many more logs during the working hours than they would traditionally be receiving at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. or these types of things. So this blue band is not going to be circular for the most part. It's going to be peaks and troughs based on the different log volumes or record volumes that are streaming into Sumo Logic. The reason that we call them records is because they're not just raw log messages. They contain additional context. So for example, if there are log messages related to authentications or access attempts, then we might look up contextual information from your domain, from Active Directory or from Okta or from your authentication store to provide not just the user's username, but his location and his full name and his country and these types of things. If it was network related logs, then maybe geographical IP information on where those networks are and these types of things. Signals are events that have matched to a rule, and that is represented by this middle band here, this light blue band. So 13 million raw logs, or we now call them records, coming into Sumo Logic, 527,000 events of interest that the SIEM has detected. So these signals are being correlated or captured by an array of rules that we have built into our SIEM out of the box. So we're up to about, I think, 700, maybe close to 800 rules now. Sorry, 600 in this environment. 666 rules covering all different types of things, covering Office 365, AWS, PowerShell, proof points, Okta, Google Drive, lots and lots, Carbon Black, Cisco, SentinelOne, Palo Alto, etc. So these rules are different detection rules that are built into our product. And as these 13 million log messages have come in, we've detected 527,000 events against those rules that are of interest, right? And as you saw, there's some 600 rules built into the product, but customers have the ability to import YAML rules in YAML formats or create new rules for specific things that they're looking for. And there's different types of rules that we can create. There are match rules. We're wanting to create a signal when we match something. It could be threshold rules. So, hey, if a user has more than 10 invalid logins within a 5-minute period. It could be a chain rule. So, when a user has 10 invalid logins in a 5-minute period, that is immediately followed by a successful login. These are chained events that we can kind of chain together, or aggregation rules based when a certain condition is met. So we provide the ability to do a lot of detections right out of the gate through the rules that we have built in. And then we also provide the ability for our customers to be able to create their own rules based on the things that they're specifically looking for. And this is where a lot of SIEM solutions stop. Logs come in, detections are generated, right? Or detections are found. And there's a lot of manual intervention and correlation that needs to happen against these specific signals. Where Sumo Logic is very unique in the SIEM space is we have this concept of insights. So these insights are grouped signals. And we think of an insight as an automatic level 1 analyst built into your SIEM. It's looking through these 527,000 signals, and it's automatically correlating signals together based on entities. So if we come in and we look at some of these signals, you can see that these insights have been turned into investigations. And I can move these investigations into different queues for different analysts or for different people, etc. You can see that this investigation has got a ticket assigned to it. It's been mapped to the MITRE ATT&CK framework through the tactic and technique that was seen. And what we're saying here is that we've seen 4 signals over the last 1-day period, all completely unique to each other, but all related to this particular entity. So this entity is an IP address. This particular entity is a username, etc. If we come in and we look at, say, this first entity, 3890, persistence with initial access, we can see that we've been tracking this particular entity, this internal IP address. And we can see that there's been 4 unique signals that we've automatically correlated through our automatic correlation engine to this entity. So the first one that we saw related to this particular entity was today at 11:05 a.m. And it was a signal that was detected in the proof point logs. So this customer is obviously using a hosted email solution for proof point. And in the proof point logs, it was seen that proof point detected that a user received an email with a phishing link. You can see that our Cloud SIEM solution has automatically extrapolated the fields of interest. The fact that the user not only received the email, but he clicked it. We can see the IP address or the entity where the user was, the email address, the URL that was accessed, the Alexa ranking and the entropy of this particular URL that was accessed, a few other details here. So this in itself is one signal, but our SIEM is smart enough to be able to say, okay, well, I'm going to start watching this particular entity now. And we then detected 5 minutes later, another signal. this time from the firewall, from Checkpoint. And Checkpoint detected that, again, this particular entity, this user's workstation, downloaded a file that the Checkpoint cloud determined to be malicious. So we can see the user's endpoint here, which is the same entity that we were tracking through the proof point signal. So we've automatically correlated this event together. It's related, right? We can see the destination address from where the file came from. We can even see the file name. And we can also see the fact that Checkpoint know it's a Trojan in a zip format, right? This is at 11:10. Funnily enough, 5 minutes later, we also saw from the customer's CrowdStrike endpoint solution that a malicious file was executed on the desktop. It was executed on this IP address, the same entity that we're tracking here. We can see the location of the file that was downloaded. We can see the file hash that was actually run on the endpoints. The threat name that CrowdStrike detected as a part of the endpoint solution, and the user that was involved. And then again, another signal, unique signal, that was automatically correlated here to say that this particular file was no good. So each one of these events that have come in, we've been able to do automatic correlation against this entity, and we've given each event a score. So the proof point events or signal had a severity score of 4. The Checkpoint malicious file coming through the firewall signal had a malicious score of 3. The CrowdStrike endpoint detection had a malicious score of 3. And then the threat intel from CrowdStrike had a malicious score of 5. So all of these scores in themselves equal up to a score of 15. And built into our product, as we start to track entities, and you can see here on the entities tab, that we're actually tracking lots and lots of entities, 3,000 different entities. And you can see that the scores for all of these entities, based on the different signals that are being generated, are accumulating. They're accumulating automatically. We're automatically correlating these signals together and grouping them against entities. And built into our product out of the box is when an entity's score exceeds 15 or greater over a 28-day period, we will automatically create an investigation and say to somebody, each one of these signals in themselves may get lost in noise or may not be of that much interest. But when we group and we track this entity and all the different signals that are firing, this is something that you should absolutely investigate. We'll create that investigation for you and allow your SOC analysts and security practitioners to be able to focus on this without having to do that time-consuming manual correlation of different events together and try and figure out, okay, so something's happened here. What are all the related events or unrelated events that contextually are the same entity? So this is a bit of an introduction and a bit of a live demonstration as to how our Cloud SIEM solution works. Just mindful of your time. Bundled with this or paired with this, we also provide our customers with premium support, with professional services if necessary, and with SecOps or special operations assistance in the event that you don't have a very large SOC team or very large and experienced security analysts in your organization. So not just providing you the SaaS solution to help you address your security requirements in the cloud, not just providing your analysts automatic correlation of events across different entities, whether they're IP addresses, usernames, host names, MAC addresses, and these types of things, but also bundling it with support, whether it be premium support, professional services, or investigations and detection assistance per se. That concludes our brief introduction today and demonstration of Cloud SIEM. Are there any questions that have come in the chat for now? I appreciate we're running right on time. So I'll just have a bit of a look in the chat here. If there are, I will address those questions and come back to you. You're also welcome to reach out to us at sales@sumologic.com. Drop in that you've seen and you've sat through this presentation today. Maybe you'd like us to cover it off in a bit more detail, or you have some questions or would like to talk about your specific example, and we can go from there. Thank you very much for your time, guys. Look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a nice evening.